Hey guys, it's Danny. Welcome to part 2 of our mini series on the leafless orchid. In part 1 a few days ago, I showed you how I unmounted this orchid from a pretty horrible looking mount and placed it on something much prettier, a wooden mount, and also gave you a bit of an idea on how I plan to keep this orchid in a home setting or environment. Well, today I'm going to elaborate more on that. You can already see a little bit of a setup here. This is my preferred setup. But I do have some other ideas for you which you could explore, because I can see how not everybody will appreciate or like or be able to hold an orchid in this type of setup. So I do have a few ideas for you guys which I hope you will enjoy. And P.S. I did a little bit of research and apparently you pronounce the name of this orchid as Chiloschista, not Chiloschista. I went on the AOS website and checked out pronunciation. The thing is, ever since I learned about this orchid like 7 years ago, I heard it being pronounced as Chiloschista. Apparently that was wrong. Sorry about that. Not that I care too much about pronunciation because, you know, everybody has a different native language. You will pronounce things differently around the world. It doesn't really matter all that much, really. But just as a side note, it's not Chiloschista, it's Chiloschista. Well, we're just gonna have to correct ourselves from now on. But anyway, I hope you will enjoy today's video, and if you end up enjoying it, please don't forget to give it a like, leave me a comment, a share would be great, and why not subscribe? I post 3 times a week. So with that said, let's pick up from last time. It will start a bit choppy because it is part of the previous video. So let's get to it. Alright, so now let's get that cloche, and I'm gonna show you how I mounted to the cloche. So here's the cloche. As I was saying, I really enjoy these things lately. They're not something new. There are a lot of people using these already with other plants. I just happened to kind of stumble upon them recently, and all I could think was mounted orchids, mini terrariums, all of these fun stuff that I'm really into this year. So expect more videos on enclosures of sorts. Anyway, I spent quite a bit of time figuring out how to put a hook inside here to hang the actual mount. And I tried a lot of things. I tried glue guns, double adhesive tape, Velcro tape, all sorts of glues. Nothing held. Mind you, this is very high humidity environment. And in the end, you know what held? Good old magnets. So what I did was I went to Amazon and found myself magnets and magnetized hooks. You can find these for sale in very large numbers, very affordable. I think you can find these at your local hardware stores. Mine did not have them, so that's why I bought them from Amazon. But if you live in a bigger country, you might actually find these at your local hardware store. And what I do is get the magnet hook, place it on the inside, and on the outside, place the magnet. This is very strong. Nothing is actually falling from here. And I think you see where this is going. So let's see if my hand fits. Oh, okay, so I made this little hanger into a hook, and this should be easier. Let's see. There we have it. Now, you might find that the cloche is not tall enough. That's okay. It's okay if the orchid has some of the roots on the bottom of the cloche, absolutely no issue. Also, you could actually use some sort of bowls. Let me show you an example. Okay, so this is just a drainage dish, but as you can see, it creates a little bit of space between the actual cloche and the bottom, so you gain a little bit more space at the bottom. Obviously, you can find something that will fit better. You can find taller cloches. I've seen them around. You could actually also find those mini geometric terrariums. Some of them are pretty tall. So there are multiple options that you can use or try to find if you like the cloche aspect, which I do. But cloches are not the only way you could actually grow this orchid a little bit more practical in a home environment. I have a few more ideas. Hold on, let me show you. I think you can totally find yourself a basket like this, maybe a container which is fairly shallow but wide, and just place either a bit of sphagnum moss if you don't have algae issues in your environment, either cocoa peat. All right, I'm gonna give you a spoiler, hold on. Okay, so imagine this, but much wider, very thin container with just a layer of cocoa peat there, maybe a little moss if you have in your area. Things that maintain humidity but don't attract algae, and you could theoretically place this orchid right on top and the roots will absorb whatever water you have in there. You don't necessarily need a dome on top. That might be a little bit of an overkill. You can even try to hang it in some fashion. I do believe there are a few ways to deal with the leafless orchid in a home setup. Now here's an idea which I'm personally not a fan of, but you might be. Maybe in your environment things will not get so full of algae, but you can actually use an upside down terracotta pot. This is a little tiny, but you get the idea. Place it on top of a dish, mount the orchid on top of your terracotta pot, and whenever you water, you can actually leave a little water in the dish. The terracotta pot will absorb it and deliver it to your orchid. Depending how much water you leave in the dish, you can go for quite a few days without having to water your orchid. I don't like this because I personally am not a fan of the salt deposits on the terracotta. But worse than that, in my environment, algae proliferate. So this will be covered with algae in no time, and scrubbing it from the terracotta, not something I want to do. But you get the idea. This is a very viable setup as well. Now, as you can see, my orchid is in bloom, or rather in spike. What will I ever do when the spikes outgrow the cloche? Well, I'm gonna have to work a little bit harder, but I have a display in mind which can work as a permanent display as well. Hold on. You might have seen these holders in flower shops. They're the ones that hold those beautiful glass globes. Well, you can actually hang your mounted orchids as well. Look at that. And since you can place this wherever, the flower spikes can actually grow however long they feel like, which I do believe this is how I will keep this orchid. But obviously, again, if you're gonna put a little bit of sphagnum moss, or you're gonna use a water retentive mount of any sorts, you can actually keep this orchid as such on your desk, on your table. Again, reminding you, I'm referring to home growing here. If you have a greenhouse that you can hose down, this is irrelevant, I get it. But for a home display, isn't this beautiful? I'm not gonna keep it like this forever. I shall remind you though, any mount that is water retentive will attract algae as well, so be careful what you choose and consider your environment first. But wait, there is more. Let's work a little bit more with the magnets since we have a whole lot of them. If you happen to have a metal shelf of any sorts, you can actually use these magnet hooks, stick them on the shelf, and just hang your orchid from that hook. If you get strong magnets, it will not move from this place. Again, since this is open air, it will dry out faster, but if you don't have a problem with that, if you have time, obviously this can work. You can attach this to wherever. Anything that is metal, you can put it on your fridge, I guess, if you like. You don't necessarily need a wire grid of sorts to hang your mounted plants. You can absolutely fill an entire shelf with these magnetized hooks and put all the mounts your heart desires. And that's about it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I will keep you up to date with my little Chiloschista. Hopefully we're gonna have blooms soon. And I think I mentioned in the video, when the flower spikes outgrow this little setup, obviously I will keep it hanging in the air and I will put in the work. I will water it every day. But generally, I would love to keep it in the cloche and not have to water it all that often or spray it or things of the sorts. In my environment, I'm pretty sure I would have to soak it rather than spray it because it's gonna get hot. But yeah, for the time being, most probably it will just hang on this shelf on that magnetic hook. But other than that, I will keep it in a cloche and hopefully it will do okay. Fingers crossed. So with that said, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching and I hope you have a great day. Subscribe to my channel for more orchid videos, tutorials, experiments, updates, and other fun orchid subjects. If you wish to support the channel, do consider becoming a member or visit the merch store linked down below in the description. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. It's always nice to stay in touch there as well. And I'll see you all next time. Bye!